Double busy, getting busy, Yo, 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 what's up, it's me, the double busy. So I'm going to do the Tutorial Ireland for you, and I'm going to try to run through everything, new menus, all kinds of great stuff. If you'd like to listen to the music in the beginning, otherwise skip ahead. Get ready for the goosebumps. Crusader Kings 3 is a deep strategy game of dynasties and intrigue. If you are new to the world of Crusader Kings, we strongly recommend you play the tutorial. In the tutorial, you will play as Petty King Murshad, a ruler in Ireland. Lead your family and dynasty to defeat your enemies and become King of Ireland. Play tutorial. Welcome to Crusader Kings. You are a medieval ruler. Land is yours for the taking, through clever marriages and diplomacy, or by way of the sword. There is no one way to quote-unquote win in Crusader Kings, only different ways to enjoy the story that unfolds. So even if you have played Crusader Kings 2, I had at least 250 hours in, probably more because that's all Steam logged. There's still new things to learn, there's still differences, and it's still worth going through the tutorial. Camera basics. Use W, A, S, and D keys, so you can move around. Now it says press the home key to take you to the realm capital. My home key doesn't work. Maybe I have to use like shift or function. Function, home. Okay, so that does work. Finally, I figured out how to use the home key. And your mouse, obviously, if you right click, you can pan, spin, and go up and down. If you zoom in and out with the scroll, you can also hold the middle down and drag it. Now, most people are going to have it set up where if you go to the edges, it will carry you that way. I have turned that off on purpose because I don't like that. The farthest in you can zoom is like this, where you can see your holdings and the information and lots of tooltips. If you zoom out a little bit, you start getting county names. A little bit more, that information disappears. A little bit more, it turns to the realms. And then if you keep going out, eventually you'll lose the shields, and then eventually you'll lose the blue water, and you'll get the entire map will fit on one screen. Pausing. Down here, you can use these controls, or you can use the numbers. So like the numbers across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can use the space bar to pause or unpause. So basically, I keep my hand there just like I'm playing a first-person shooter, where I'm using W, A, S, and D to move around. Thumb is on the space bar. And kind of like in Minecraft, I can move up and use the number buttons to switch which speed I'm going. Tooltips. There's a lot of different ways. You can go into the settings and into... Where did it go? Settings. And you can go to game and you can mess with the tooltips. I personally like Action Lock because you press the middle button. So the way that works is you hover over it, but as soon as you move, it goes away. If I middle click, do you see how it kind of like surrounded it with that little thing? And now it'll stay there until I move off of it. So I middle click. I can also middle click to make it go away. Rulers of land. Titles. So basically, as long as you click on yourself, it will center you on yourself. And then this shows you your primary title. And this is all your titles, including your primary title, which will be listed first. And the little crowns on top tell you what level. So that level right there is the county level with the little golden crown. The silver fancier crown is the duchy level. That crown is the kingdom level. And then let's go click on an empire and see what it looks like. Oh, it's just a fancier version. Okay. So I'm going to go to my player character. That's the kingdom level. And then the empire level's like a little higher or a little fancier than that. You can also go to the previous screen that way. Okay. Function home. Anything else? Borders. All right, let's get that up and out of the way. There are borders between the holdings. Do you see the little dashed lines here? Those are borders between your holdings. So a holding is like a castle, or a bishopric, a church basically, or a city. And sometimes you can have an empty holding that is waiting to be built in, and you can see the little dashed line there. The gold lines are between counties. I don't know the duchy level because I haven't quite seen that yet. Let's come down here somewhere. Any different levels? It's kind of hard to see, isn't it? Yeah, it just kind of all blends together under one ruler. You can click on this button to get the duchy titles, but that is the de jure or de jure, and that's the kingdom, and then that's the empire. If you click this plus, you can get the county level. And then if you click on this, this is the realms that are actually in place right now, what people own. Gold means that's the county that you have selected right now to be looking at. But within that county, you can switch between which holding you're looking at. And then the blue border is your realm. Now I own that county, but this county, you see there's a flag, that means he's my vassal. And when I hover over his name, over his picture, it says, middle click, your steward and vassal, or over here it says vassal. Ruling over others, oh, I just explained that. So if you're in your blue realm, but you see someone else's banner, they're probably a vassal. That means that you're in charge of them, but you have to have good relations with them too. Or you can be a tyrant. Okay, characters. So this is your character. If you click on them, that comes up. This is your house. And if you click on that, it takes you to like your dynasty basically. So there's your dynasty there. You could look at your dynasty tree and see all of your people. Honestly, you're not going to be coming to this very often, but it's kind of fun. You can also get to your house down here, which takes you to your dynasty. You can get to your religion, and you can get to your culture that way as well. Okay, your main skills, diplomacy. Where is it? Diplomacy. How well you interact with people. Martial, fighting skill and getting your troops to respawn. Maintenance. Stewardship, building, tax collection. Intrigue, all of your schemes and plots. And learning. This is going to be like, it says, notice it says crown authority and demand conversion. So this is going to be things like what authority level you have as a liege. This is going to be culture, technologies. There's also some things related to religion or piety. This right here is your prowess, how good you are at fighting while you're actually in combat. Traits. Everyone has traits. The big squares are your traits, and that changes who you are, and it also changes what choices you have in the events that pop up. So being temperate gives me a little more stewardship and makes me a little bit healthy. It has opinions, and then also some religions consider things to be either virtuous or sins. So being temperate is a virtue to Catholics. So every single person in the game who has the Catholic religion will have a higher opinion of you, and you're going to gain piety every month just for being temperate, which is a virtue. Okay, wrathful, really angry, so obviously it makes you better at fighting, but then you're not going to be as good at having secrets, or you're not going to be as good interacting with people. Impatient, right? You're not going to be patient enough to read a book and learn, but you're going to get some more prestige because you're going to go out there and take action and make things happen now. And your hostile schemes will go better because you'll be willing to take action. There are other things up here. You'll get things that are military perks, like being a skilled tactician, related to your lifestyle, which we'll cover later, or being a flexible leader, which gives you advantage, which makes you fight better, makes your troops fight better. You also get to know what religion you are, what it's organized under. So Christian is the faith, Catholicism, the other way around. Catholic is the religion, Christian is the faith. So Christian's like the overarching faith, and then there are religions underneath that, like Catholicism and others. And then your culture, this guy's Irish. Here you can also see some things like your dread, how much of a tyrant you are, which can make people fearful or scared of you and can help keep your vassals in line or prevent people from trying to plot schemes against you. How much gold you have to spend, how much prestige you have, which is like a level of your fame. Click, click. And piety, which is like a measure of how much religion you have or your devotion to your religion. And then your military strength, and it will pop up and tell you levies, which is basically just regular old peasants, knights, and it will also show you the different men-at-arms that you get later on. Stress. Stress is a new mechanic to the game, but it's very good. Basically, when events pop up, if you follow the things that meet your traits, then you'll do fine. But sometimes you won't like those decisions as a player. You can either choose to roleplay and follow what your character is, or you can go against it and do what you think is best for the game, but that will cause you stress. As you gain stress, you'll go up eventually in levels. The next level, see it says next level at 100. Oops, click. There we go. So when you get to 100, you're at level 1. And level 1 means you have a little bit of a chance for a mental break. Level 2 is more, and level 3 you have a very high chance of a mental break. Mental breaks basically is like you have a meltdown. So a mental break might be like, you mental break, it'll pop an event up and it'll say, oh, you have a choice to either gain more stress and fight your urges, or you might go to the brothel, or you might decide to go to the bars more often and become a drunkard. So it can change your traits. So if you follow your character's traits, you'll do fine, but the choices might not be what you want as a player. If you go against your traits, you're going to gain stress. But the stress will give you mental breaks, which give you the opportunity to change your traits, maybe. Your character could get stressed out and have like heart attacks and die and become a very terrible character. Or you could kind of game it to your advantage and change who your character is deep in their core, change their traits, and be more like what you want them to be like. Some traits are good, some traits are bad. We talked about that. Opinion. Everyone has an opinion, right? So there's always the little green thing down here in the corner, and then it breaks it down and tells you why they have a high opinion of you. If it's green, it's good. If it's red, it's bad. And they always give you a summary. Gold. Gold is money. It helps you do things like build or hire armies. If you're in feudal, it's for armies. If you're in tribal, the prestige is going to be for that. You can click on it to see how much... I'm sorry, I'm doing the middle click. You would have to hover. Depends on how you have your tooltip set. But you can see where these things are coming from. So the barony that I own is giving me 2.4. And then the mayor's giving us a little bit of taxes, and our earl in that other county is giving us a little bit of taxes. Gives us a total, and then says if we have any expenses like troop maintenance or other things. You can hover over it to see what these things are. Prestige is similar. You can tell how you're earning it. You can tell what your level of fame is. The higher your level of fame, the more you get. Like if you get up there, you start getting more knights, or people have a better opinion of you. So eventually, if you become a living legend, literally everyone in the game that's not religious will have plus 30 opinion, and you'll get 4 more knights. So you're getting huge bonuses if you're famous. People will like you. Piety is all that religion-based stuff, and again, you can hover and find out what's going on. Level of devotion can change and give you opinion bonuses. So anyone religious-based will get more opinion as you become more quote-unquote famous in terms of religion. And then renown is kind of like the long-term dynasty thing. The more renown you get, the more splendor you can have. And as your splendor goes up, that means your dynasty is becoming more and more famous. And you'll be able to do more things in the legacy tech tree. You can also see your soldiers up here. And you can see who your knights and levies are and what quality you have. The better your quality, it's just another modifier to make your soldiers fight better. So if you had 610 and your enemy had 610, but you're superior quality and they were just like one little square, they're terrible quality, you might still win that battle. Piety, we just talked about. Lifestyles. Lifestyles are basically how you level up your character. So diplomacy, you get focuses, or foci, and then you get 3 different tech trees within that. So your focus tells you a little bit about how you're pursuing it, and then your tech trees give you individual perks. So good example is martial, right? If I want to be good at marshalling, I would pick this. If I want to be good at making everyone fearful and controlling my lands, I'd pick this. If I personally am going to go fight in battles and I want to make sure I have plenty of advantage, I would pick that. And then each of the things that you tech up in, each of these perks, give you bonuses. And all the bonuses stack and eventually lead to a new trait. And then when you get that new trait, that becomes a part of who you are. So if I become a strategist, my diplomacy increases, my martial increases, bad guys die more often, and I don't get problems for crossing water. So the end is always really good to get to. Stewardship, everything to do with wealth in your domain and building. Intrigue, everything to do with either schemes and plots or being like lustful or intimidating people. And learning, things to do with your health, development of your domain or of your realm, and then things related to piety and theology and religion. Okay, it wants us to choose a focus. I know that I am going to be fighting some battles. So, martial is decent. Dread and control I'm not too worried about because I will be able to control one county at a time and get that control up. There is a council action to make control increase. This is really good if I'm personally going to go be fighting my battles. And advantage +5 is really good too. I'm not really sure why you would want this one over this one. I guess if you're more focused on maintenance of your men-at-arms and your levies, getting your levies to fill back up faster and reducing the cost of your men-at-arms, you'd go here. If you're personally going to go out and fight and you want your armies to fight better in battles, pick here. Since we're starting so small and we're going to fight a lot, I'm going to pick chivalry focus. If I were a huge realm with a huge army and it were really expensive, I might consider that one. And then we are going to be teching up and trying to go for this perk. You see how it's grayed out? So that's the one that we're trying to make progress towards. So I'm going to leave that alone. Other characters. Okay. Schemes. Okay. So what they want us to do is open and right-click on our heir's portrait to see interactions. Any character that you right-click on that's alive, you can interact with in any of the screens. I could even click down here, right-click on them, and interact with them that way. So you don't have to pull them up over here. Anytime you see a live character, you can right-click and interact. Let's go back to our heir. You can do things that are diplomatic. You can do things that are personal, and sometimes there's a drop-down menu for more. You can do things that are hostile, and if it's colored in, you know that there are more. And then you can do things related to vassalage and court. Try to use and confirm send a gift. Okay, so we're going to send a gift to our heir. A new screen pops up. It tells you the effects on you and what you're doing, and the effects on the person that you're sending the gift to. Always scroll up and down to make sure you're reading everything, because sometimes you'll do an action and you'll be like, whoa, I lost prestige for that. It'll tell you if they're going to accept or not, and then you can take that action. Important things pop up over here. Left-clicking can expand them or shrink them. Right-clicking makes them go away. That whole system is a lot better. I have not found a way to choose, like in CK2, you used to have like 4 different little levels that you could choose about announcements of what's going on in the world. All that stuff's gone. Things just pop up. The vast majority of them make sense and aren't too annoying. And if they're popping up too fast, you can just minimize them, get them out of the way and play. Or you can right-click and make them disappear. Playing a family, it's all about your dynasty. So obviously you want to get married and have children. As long as you have heirs, your dynasty will continue. Here's your house. Here's the part about legacies. Okay, that's that long-term renown and level of splendor. There's our level of splendor. This is our progress towards being able to choose a legacy. And then if you open up the legacies, you can do things related to warfare, law, and all these others. This is a very long-term, like, takes 200 years to get to the other side of the board kind of thing. Now, if you watch One Proud Bavarian, he'll explain why this is a little bit imbalanced for the Islamic faiths. They can have so many children that they're getting tons and tons of legacy from them. Because basically this is based on how many live people you have in your dynasty. Okay, succession laws. Open the realm view on the right. Inspect the succession tab. So this tells you what your succession laws are, how to change them. You might have them grayed out so you can't change them, and your crown authority too. This is going to be especially important if you start tribal, because tribal will not be able to go to feudal until you get all the way up to the 4th level, and it takes time and prestige and money to work your way up there, and then your succession laws change. Now these are your succession laws for everything. There are succession laws individual to a title. So for example, how did I get to it? Let's go back. Click on the title. Okay. Oh, here we go. Add laws. Let's get that out of the way. You can add a succession law to one specific title, but it is very expensive, and it will not apply to any other title except for that one. So these are your succession laws for the entire realm. These are your laws for one specific title. Let me get that out of the way. Try to close that. Okay, renown, we talked about your dynasty and your level of splendor. Marriage, click on your character. We can click on spouse. It'll bring up the menu to find a spouse. Things I like to do is I like to search for things like relevance is a little bit helpful, especially it helps you with alliances. Looking at characters, like if I'm going to go fight, I might want someone with really high martial. So I look and I see, oh, I'm in the high teens. Then what I can do is choose sum of all skills and try to pick someone who's kind of in the mid to high teens. And as I scroll down, I'll see, okay, here's a 16, here's a 14. How old are they? Do they have any good traits? Yes, she's Catholic, but she's Norse. Okay, that's not a huge deal. You can also use this to toggle filters, like especially an age difference. Only 5 years different is a big deal, so you don't get a bunch of old women or like 2-year-old girls. Unless you want to do betrothals, of course. There's a lot of stuff you can change in here. Now, here's a problem. She's lowborn, so I'm going to end up losing a bunch of prestige. So if it's worth it to get that quick, go ahead. If not, you can use things like not lowborn, and then you'll lose less prestige. So let's show an example. Let's say this girl's lowborn. I'm going to lose 300 prestige, okay? Clear character, wipe it clean. Let's come back over to Dynasty, not lowborn. All right. She's a 14, she's young. Okay, I would actually gain prestige. Good. Okay, let's find some that are like low but not landed. That means there would be no alliance. So alliances, no alliance. Let's go back up and sort it by sum of all skills. And then let's look for a high. Okay, let's suppose she was the one. If she was a little bit younger, click on her. Oh, I'm still losing a bunch of prestige. Well, she's in a dynasty or a house, but she's not landed, so you're going to lose prestige that way. If I'm going to lose prestige anyway, I might as well go do the lowborn and get the quick. So, all, and I don't care, I can reset defaults. I'm going to do the sum of all skills. And where was that girl? Here we go. 17 years old. Looks like we'll get along pretty well. She is Catholic. Her martial's really good. And she has an inheritable trait, which is a good one. So we're going to click on her. We're going to send a proposal. Even though we're going to lose prestige, that's okay. We're going to get a bunch of it back fighting. I gladly accept. Normally that would take a couple days to receive that message. And normally it would pop up over here and say, hey, you got married. Character filter. I talked about that. Sending a proposal. Talked about that. Congratulations. Dynasty and house. The player heir will always come from your dynasty, most often from your house. So remember, this is your house, but your dynasty can be bigger than that, especially if there are cadet branches. Early in the game, that's not going to be the case, but later in the game, as things grow and branches break off, that will be more important. and then that changes your line of succession. One nice way to know your line of succession, just hover over your title, and it says right down here who's in line, and it always gives you the top 4. So Brian McMurshad is in line for both the titles. Petty Kingdom, which is the duchy level, and the earldom, which is the county level. I believe you can also hover over the titles out here and find out who the line of succession is for them also. Even if they are not in your realm, it tells you all that information. Land and titles. Not everyone is in your dynasty, of course. Okay, there's 4 different levels: county, duchy, kingdom, and empire. And sometimes they have different names for them. So like over here, earldom is the county, petty kingdom is the duchy. In tribal over in the Vikings, county level is called the earl, duchy is the jarl. The kingdom level over here in Ireland is going to be high kingdom level. See? Kingdom of Ireland, or you'll be called High King. Okay, de jure titles. That just means like it belongs historically. So if you'll notice, Munster is me, and I only have these 2 counties. Desmond is independent. But if I click on the de jure, or de jure, all 3 of those counties are supposed to be there. That's good for me because I can declare war and try to include him and bring him into my duchy level. Same thing can happen at the kingdom level and the empire level. Okay, your holdings. So basically your holdings are these little tiny dotted lines that you can barely see. And then the holding, if it has the blue banner and the name, you are in charge of it. It's your holding. If not, you don't hold it. And as you zoom out, the banner stays there, so you know that's yours. Also, you can see what's in your domain by the holdings up here. And if you click on it, that little thing pops out. And I can see, oh, not only do I have 1 castle in my domain, I have a vassal right there. He's an earl or count level. And I have a mayor. Where is he? Okay, if you click on his, or if you hover over him, he lights up. Or if you click on him, it brings him up here. If I hover over him, it highlights. That's another nice little feature. When you hover over things, it highlights them on the map. Okay, click on your capital holding and order the construction of a building. Okay, so I have to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to order the construction of a building. Let's see. Fort level and garrison is for defense. I'm going to be going out and fighting. Archer damage, skirmishers, and more levies. That could be good. Defender advantage. No, I'm not going to be defending. Taxes and building construction time. I'm not going to be doing a lot of developing. So I want to improve and get up to camp cooks. More levies, higher supply limit, better archer damage, and skirmisher damage. I'm going to upgrade. That's going to cost a lot of money and take about 2 years to happen. When that's happening, oh, it doesn't show it. Later on, it'll show a little button down here below. Oh, we can't unpause. Eventually, there will be a little circle down here, and when you zoom out, you'll still see that circle. You'll see that something is being built and progressing there. Some other nice buttons are all the buttons over here. And we'll go through those in just a minute. Okay, let's close that because it's too loud. Taxation. Okay, let's zoom out because that was kind of loud. Holdings give you taxes. If you zoom in, it tells you how much. Up here in the gold, you can find out how much. In your character view, there's a way to find out how much by hovering. So there are many ways to see what your gold taxation income is. Obligations are kind of what your vassals owe you. I think if we go into the realm, you can see what their obligations are. Here's their feudal contract modify button, and you can see how much they're giving you. So the blue is how much you're getting, the red is how much they're getting themselves. So early in the game, it's going to be really low because, hey, we don't owe you much. And the nice thing here is, okay, his total levies right now are 46. He owes us 25%. Oh, I'm sorry, his total is 185. He owes us 25%, so we're getting 46. So I like how the number they're showing you is the number you're getting, as opposed to the number that they have available. Okay, vassals. They give you taxes and levies. Open the realm on the right side. Yep, we just went over this. They have an opinion of you. There's a lot of information to find out here what's going on. They'll even tell you if they are a different system, a different government. If they're a powerful vassal, they're going to want a seat on the council, so you should generally try to give them a seat. But one thing to notice, like let's say you have 3 counties and an entire duchy, and then there's a guy with like 1 county, it might still call him a powerful vassal, and he might still want a council position, and he'll be mad at you because he doesn't have one. He's really not that powerful. So consider how powerful they truly are. Now, if you're a king and you've got 8 vassals and they all say powerful and they're all mad at you, well, guess what? They're going to start a faction and they're going to rebel. So then, yeah, you want to give them council positions. Okay, try to keep them happy. There's a lot of ways to do that. You can even right-click, scheme, and sway, which is basically just be nice to them and try to say nice things about them, and events will pop up. You can send them a gift to keep them happy, too. Notice that some things will be permanent, like if you send them a gift, eventually that will wear off. But if you sway them, it wears off a little slower. And then there's also permanent things. The permanent things will look permanent, but let's go ahead and send him a gift. The things that are going to go away over time will be very clear. So it's clear that these are always modifiers. This one is a modifier now, but will eventually go away. And then you can figure out what your vassal limit is, so I can have 20 vassals. Right-click, get rid of that. Realm and domain. Realm is just what your entire area is that you're ruling over. Domain is what you control personally. In this case, the entire county and your holdings. You can grant titles, and there's a lot of ways to do that. Let's see. Go into the realm. You can right-click, come down here and grant, not grant vassal, grant titles. In here, you can... How do I do it? There was a way to do it. Let's get that out of the way. Oh, I can't because it's the only one I hold. If you had counties or holdings that you didn't personally own, there would be a button down here to grant it. Council. Open the council view. Okay. They have a lot of tasks. Let's go. Let's go back to the council. So, your wife is always here, and they can do things. Generally assist with a lot of different stuff, or some very specific things. If you're fighting a lot of wars, chivalry is good. Because now, your marshal's a lot higher. Here it is. Spouse chivalry +8. So your levy size increases, your reinforcement rate increases, and that +8 is literally a +8 to advantage when you're fighting, which means, I believe, 16% more damage just because she is helping you manage your armies better. Your bishop is always here, and you don't really get to choose your bishop. They have a few different actions, including fabricating claims. Your chancellor needs to have good diplomacy. They can get you prestige and good opinion outside of your realm, or they can give you good opinion inside your realm. Your steward needs to have good stewardship, taxes, and building, usually. There's some other things going on that are kind of grayed out if they're not available. Your marshal needs to have martial skill. He can get your levies better. He can make your men-at-arms cost less and more knights recruit. Or he can increase control when you conquer new counties. Your spy master, obviously someone you want to keep happy so they don't plot against you secretly. They can disrupt schemes against you, help you with your schemes, or find secrets against others. One nice thing about all these council positions and these council actions, you don't have to click an action and then click a county for it to happen very often. That is the case in increased control, but a lot of these actions just happen in your domain or in your realm, and it's a lot less micromanagement than the previous game. So it still has good effects, you still manage your council, but it's a lot less like clicking here, clicking there, trying to find a scheme, all kinds of little micromanagement stuff. Intrigue. Click on it, open it, inspect the schemes tab. Right now I don't have any, but everything is in here. Hostile schemes including kidnapping and murdering, personal schemes like trying to sway someone's opinion and make them like you better, secrets that you have discovered or secrets that you might have about yourself, and then the hooks and secrets show up in here. Okay, schemes. Schemes can be like something as big as murdering and kidnapping, or something as small as just swaying someone and trying to get a better opinion. What else? Sway scheme. Open the council view. Okay. Right-click on the court chaplain, which is our bishop. Ah, so he has a bad opinion of us, and all that stuff is permanent. I need to sway his opinion of me. Right-click, sway. I have a 60% chance of succeeding. That's actually not that good. And it'll take 22 months to, like, really make it happen. But if it succeeds, I'll get a better opinion. And how long is it going to last? I think it's a permanent opinion, because it doesn't say that it's going to wear off. And then in that case, he'll start giving me taxes and levies. Okay, excellent. That's set up. Open the intrigue view. So now that's in our intrigue. And it tells us how much progress it's making. It tells us what our chance to succeed is. If it were a hostile scheme, you'd have a little drop-down menu to show you who all your agents are, all the people that have joined that scheme. You can also abandon the scheme if you want to, if you think it's just going to fail. Things can go wrong, like if I try to sway him and I have a poor chance of doing so, there might be an event where I say something and he gets offended, and then he'll get mad at me. Inspect the hooks and secrets tab. Okay, right now I don't have any hooks or secrets on people. Hooks are good to have, especially people who are close to you. You can force them to join schemes with hooks, or you can force vassals to change their contract with hooks. Okay, let's say we have a weak hook on this guy. We can modify our feudal contract. So, let's go into the realms. Let's click on this guy and modify the contract. Let's say I want more levies from him. I want more troops. Normally, this would be considered tyranny, and all of my subjects lose opinion. They all think I am a tyrant. And he personally would lose another 15. So everyone would be minus 20. He would be minus 35. But because I have a hook, all of that tyranny goes away. Now, he still gets mad, so there are ways I can counteract that. For example, if I look at him, he is good at stewardship, and he's actually my steward. I know I'm not going to get rid of him, so I can guarantee his council position and still get an extra 5 out of it. Title revocation, I know I'm never going to take his title away, so he's protected. Oh, that gives me another 5. War declare. Sanctioned. Oh, he can declare war on other people. Nope, can't change more than 3 things. So, I'm fine with guaranteeing him a council position, especially because we like each other, and I am fine with protecting his title. If I click on modify, that will modify it and send it, and now it's done. He did lose 5 opinion over all of me, but I'm going to get more levies out of it. I can minimize it, left click, or right click, get rid of it. War is an essential part of the game, so let's learn about war. Clicking on your military brings up your troops. Levies are just your plain old peasant levies. Nothing special about them. Gives you how much damage or toughness they have, which is basically how much they damage others, how much damage they take. Pursuit is when you win, they pursue. How much damage can they do in pursuit and cause permanent casualties or death. Screen is how well they do at protecting you if you lose and your guys are running away. Knights, you can click on your knights, see who they are, force them to always go to war with you, allow them to go to war with you, which will go in order of how good they are, or forbid them. For example, where is my steward? He's my steward. I want to forbid him. I don't want him to ever go to war and get killed. I don't want to lose my steward, my chancellor. I do not want to lose any of my council positions in this case. When they are bright and colored, you know that they are going to war. Notice it's 1, 2, 3, 4, total back. 5, 6, and I have 6 out of 6 knights. So the ones that are going to war with you are bright. The ones that are not with you are dimmed out. If they have a background like this, they're not with you yet, but you can recruit them to court for a little bit of money, and they will be there with you. Generally, I would say look for numbers that are like somewhere around 10 or higher. These really are not all that good. Okay, when a war starts, you have a rally point. Rally points are really nice. When you click and muster your troops, they just start accumulating here, and after a couple days, they finish. Not only can you raise your armies in the military screen over there, you can click on the rally point, raise just the local army or raise them all here. And now there's a little thing here at the bottom that says they're gathering. And it tells you how many days it's going to take for them to gather. So you can sit here and watch them gather, and when that goes away, you know they're ready, and then you can move them. So rally points are great. Also, if you want a new rally point, like let's say, oh, I want to be over here, I want to rally close to where I'm going to fight. You can click in your military tab, a new rally point, and then it shows you where you can put it. And now if I want my troops to go over there, I can just raise them all right there. If I want to move the rally point, I can move it somewhere else. Or if I want to completely delete it altogether, I can delete it and get rid of it. Men-at-arms regiments are stronger troops. When you click on them, it tells you more about them. Again, how much damage they do in combat, how hard it is to kill them, and then when in the aftermath, when the battle is over, how much damage they do in pursuit, or how much damage they take running away. Their type, this is all about countering, so like skirmishers can counter, where is it? Heavy infantry. Heavy infantry counters spearmen. Spearmen counter cavalry. Cavalry counters archers. And archers go back to the skirmishers. So it's kind of like this 5-pointed circle thing that's going all around. They tell you what terrain they're good in, or what terrain they're bad in. Sometimes it's only like 5, sometimes it's as much as 20. This is where you can get your siege weapons. When I'm looking at this, onagers plus 0.4, mangonels plus 0.8. They're both a size 10. And the cost is only a little bit more, and the maintenance cost is only a tiny bit more. So I would go with mangonels. Create. Okay, this talks about your casus belli, basically when you can declare wars. Pretty much if you click on someone's picture and you go to declare wars up here, it will tell you if you're able to or not. Okay, like this guy, I should be able to declare war, and then when that pops up, it gives me all the reasons that are valid. And in this case, I can do it because his county is de jure, or by law, part of my duchy. Okay, almost there. Soon we're going to unpause. There's different speeds. Important events will auto-pause. And that's pretty much it. Okay, to start, unpause the game. You notice when you're down here in this view, it gets louder with the background music, excuse me, let's go into the settings and audio. It gets louder with the ambiance. As soon as you zoom out of that range, it gets a little bit quieter. Okay, our Earl is the Earl of Desmond. We are the Earl of Desmond's rightful liege, so we're going to declare war on him. So any way you see his picture, you can declare war. Right-click, declare war, seize the earldom. It tells us how things are going to go down. My objective is that earldom. If I enforce demands, all these things happen. If we wipe peace, I'm going to lose a little bit of prestige. He keeps his land. If I surrender, I'm going to pay a lot of money to him. So I definitely don't want to lose. Okay, declare war. This pops up. You can right-click it to get rid of it if you want to. And now I understand. Okay, we can raise our armies. It will automatically raise them in your default rally point if you use that big giant button. Okay, moving, you can right-click and it will tell them where to go. Notice the colors. When it's gold, those are orders. When it's red, I will be able to change where they're going. And when it turns gray, they're locked in. Once we get there, we'll be able to siege the castle. Okay, so I'm going to unlock it. They're still... Okay, you saw it change to red. Gold meant that they were still rallying and gathering. Red means that they're going to start moving in a day. and I can change their orders. Okay, now they're moving, and do you see how he pulls his sword out and gets ready? I love that little graphic. This red's going to change to gray, and that means I cannot change the orders. I'm going to go up to speed 2, and you can see a little bit of progress was made. Uh-oh, wedding celebration. Do I want some money, or do I want some piety? I have lots of money, so I'm going to go for the piety. Or, I'm sorry, prestige. I can see now it turned gray. I cannot change the orders. If I click somewhere else, he'll go here, and then go that somewhere else. Okay, that's how much progress he's made. And let's zoom in so we can watch the battle. Okay, I'm going to pause it. Click on this, it brings up the battle. It gets a little quieter if I zoom out. Good. Tells you where the battle is and what kind of terrain it is and what effect it has on people. Nobody has any men-at-arms, otherwise their little boxes would show up here on the top. Who are the commanders? What advantage that commander provides? What realm they represent? Any special traits that they have? How many troops, total soldiers there are? Levies, knights, and men-at-arms, all three. How many people have run away? What quality you have? How many knights they have? And then what phase it's in. The big numbers, the big things you want to watch for. The gold bar. The further it goes towards your enemy, the more you're winning. So it's kind of like the balance of the battle. What phase you're in and how much advantage there is. As long as this is green, you have advantage and you're doing more damage. As long as the bar is moving to the right, you're winning the war. Okay, so let's watch this one day at a time. It's pretty even right now. The battle has started. Ooh, a pop-up. Our knight maimed Q Breton. So our knight maimed someone in the fight. Back behind the scenes, you have one-on-one battles going on between you and the knights and their knights as well. So you can see things like that pop up. As long as you're leading or commanding your army, you have a chance to be in a fight and do good, but you also have a chance to get wounded or injured, or killed even. You can see the battle starting to go in our favor, slightly. Uh-oh. Our brother died? So our brother died. He must have gotten slain as a knight. And then we gained stress because he was a family member. Okay, the battle is definitely going in our favor now. Now you can see a lot of their guys are going to run away or be routed. And then by now the battle's over and it's the aftermath. That's the phase where the pursuit or the screen comes into effect. So remember, over here, light footmen can pursue or screen. In our case, we won, so we are pursuing. So that number matters. For him, he is retreating, so that number matters. Levies don't have any of those, so whoever runs away will just run away. They won't get killed on the way out. Okay, now his little guy runs away. He gets routed. Ooh, I captured somebody and my guy died. Okay, who did I capture? This guy. Okay, up here you can see who they are. You could ransom them if you want to. 10 gold. Meh. I'll hold on to them until after the war, see what happens. So I'm going to minimize that and leave that as a reminder. Or you can go up here into your court and your prisoners and see who your prisoners are. And then you have actions to ransom them, negotiate a release, which means you can get a hook on them, or execute them, which is really good for people who need to relieve stress if they have the right traits. Okay, now we are laying siege to it. We're looking at a war score. We have to get to 100 in order to force demands. So this tells us how often an event happens. They have food, they have health, and they have like walls or their fort. This tells us the balance of power of what's going on. So their garrison, where's the garrison? Here. And we have that many. You have to have more than they have in order to even lay siege. If you have less, you cannot lay siege, or you cannot loot as a raider. You can assault the fort, but that's a very dangerous proposition because you'll start losing guys really fast. So the best thing to do when your numbers are pretty even is to just sit back and wait for that green progress bar to make progress. Okay, let's get that out of the way over here. There's our green progress bar. It's the same as this here. It tells us why we have a little bit faster, tells us of the balance of power, and it tells us what events are going on. Disease outbreak means sickness spreads. Let's speed this up to level 4. Stalemate, nothing changes. Desertion, people are leaving. Starvation, they're running low on food, so the siege speeds up. If the siege weapons knock things down, you can assault the fort. We have become the culture head, so that means that we get to choose culture technology, so that's good. We captured a hostage. Oh, he's the Earl. Okay, he's our hostage. Awesome. So as soon as the guy in charge of the war is our hostage, 100% war score. Right? You can open up the war view, and you can see everything. You can see what your war score is, how long the war's been going. You can see things like what's going to happen if you enforce your demands, what's going to happen if you wipe peace or surrender. I'm going to go ahead and enforce my demands. So be it, all those things happened, and we won the war. Okay, this guy was exposed. He's not one of ours, so I don't care. Click and clear it. Friendly exchanges. Something good happens in our court thanks to our wife. Prisoners taken. But he's no longer our prisoner. Anytime there's a ruler, usually, and you're subjugating them, they usually get to go back to ruling their lands. Siege 1, yeah, we already know that. Camp Cooks constructed. It's already done building the Camp Cooks. So we're going to go in there and build some more. I don't want fort level and garrison. That's for defense. Defender advantage and levies. Ooh, that gives me a little more levies. If it's blue like this and grayed out, that means we cannot upgrade. So I'm going to go ahead and see, yes, this gives me a little bit more levies and a little more control growth. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that. Now that the war is over, we can disband. And here's a nice thing. If you're outside of your realm, you can still disband as long as it just says they all disband, you're fine. If there's going to be a penalty, the penalty is time. Not that you lose all those levies, but it'll say something like, requires 48 months before you can muster again. So it's more of a time penalty than it is a levy penalty. Now a bunch of stuff comes up. Our heir is unmarried. We have an empty council position and a bunch of issues. Okay, let's go over those. These are like big important alerts. Empty council position, a marshal. Ooh, yeah, I wanna find a marshal. So let's sort by marshal. 11 is the best that we have. All right, well, I guess that's what we got to go with. Let's check things. Is that guy our vassal now, real quick? Yes, he's our vassal. He's not very good at marshal, though. He's going to want a position. The only thing he's good at is spy mastery, and he's not good enough. So I'm not going to appoint a position. Marshal. Who would be good? Okay, here's something to consider. What do they have in terms of prowess? 7, 2. Oh, he is definitely not going out and fighting as a knight, so I might pick him over this guy. 7, 7, 9, and 4. Where was that guy with the 2? I think I'm going to make him a marshal. He'll be happy, he'll like me more, and I know I'm never sending him out in battle. Okay. You could also go into your military tab, into your knights, go all the way down to find wherever he was, and you could forbid him if you wanted to. So let's see, like your nephew and marshal, forbid, right? Scrolling up, nephew, half-brother, your chancellor, forbid. Steward, forbid. Any other counselors? Cousin, nephew, vassal. Yeah, I want you to go die because... Oh, well, he has sons. Never mind. If I was his heir, I'd want him to die. All right, now issues. Really important ones are up here at the top. It tells you, hey, you should increase opinion, and if you click on it, it automatically will start a scheme. You don't have to right-click Start Scheme. It'll just show you what you're going to do. I can right-click to get rid of that banner. I'm not endorsed by my bishop. I'd rather have my vassal be a little more happy than this guy not give me levies and taxes, so that one can wait. You can declare war on someone. Who? That guy way up there? Oh, because this guy's in my court and he has a claim. I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon, so I'm going to right-click it and get rid of that, so I don't have that number here bugging me. Powerful vassal demands council position. I'm not giving him a position. Right-click, get rid of it. Family members can get married. Okay, I'll go ahead and leave that to remind myself to eventually do that. Okay, anything else to cover? Decisions. This is where all the little activities are, like calling a hunt, holding a feast, and it will tell you what those things do. So you can hover on them. I use the click, and then it tells you what their things are. One thing you're going to want to do, search for a physician. Go ahead and start the search and always have that. You go out fighting and you're in battle, you can't search while you're in battle. So you get wounded in a battle, too late. Usually what happens is they give you a good physician who's expensive, or they give you someone who's just okay, who's cheap, or you can move on. This is also where you can invite knights. So if you look at your military and you think your knights are not very good, which I don't think they are, click on knights. It'll give you a little pop-up. They're going to be 12 or more prowess. Notice that all my guys were like 10s and 9s. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and spend 150 prestige, send out the herald, and get knights. And those things will pop up and tell me when they happen. You can invite claimants to be able to fabricate, or I'm sorry, not fabricate claims, to be able to claim and declare wars based on their claims, like that guy up here. What else can we do? Factions. This will tell you if someone's plotting against you, stirring up factions for independence or to change your crown authority. We already went over intrigue, our court. This is where your court physician is and your prisoners. Your council we already went over. Let's see, what's our control level in this county? You have to zoom in. Yeah, go ahead and go control and see the little circle right there. Now it tells me what's going on and what we're doing. What would I want to do? I would want to fabricate a claim on Connacht. I would want to... I have tons and tons of gold, so I'd want to make the building go faster here. I'd want to find some secrets against this guy in the hopes that I can use those secrets to take away his land or make his feudal contract worse. And what do I want? Do I want direct vassal opinion or do I want prestige? I want my vassals to like me. Military we talked about. Here's where the mercenaries are. They're usually expensive. Here's where the holy orders will eventually be. And then realm. Your domain, what you control directly. Your vassals. And what your succession laws are going to be. Your crown authority as well. All of these have pop-downs. Your outliner kind of tells you things like what are your domain holdings, what armies have you raised so you can find them quickly if you're spread out all over the world, and pinned characters. So let's say I always want to know what's going on with this guy. I right-click and pin him, and now he shows up in my pinned characters. Like if there's some random courtier in the world that you want to keep track of, you would be able to pin them, and they would always show up in your pinned characters. I think that is literally everything in the game. You can search for characters, go directly to your capital, or see your direct lineage. You can mess with your game settings. And you can open the encyclopedia and literally word search for anything. And then if you're swaying, usually that pops up down here. If you have wars or hostility from raiding, that shows up here. And you've got some different map views that you can look at. Okay, that is it for the tutorial. We literally covered everything and some of the major changes. Again, based on my 250 hours in Crusader Kings 2, it is easier to do everything. Army management is easier, council management is easier, and there's a lot of new fun mechanics like the stress system. The events are tied to your traits and your family interactions. And there's not necessarily more going on, but it's kind of more spread out. Like, you have lifestyles going on, and you have perks giving you bonuses, and the battles are just simpler and more clear. There's still a lot going into it, right? You still have advantage, you still have knights. Well, knights are new, but you still have men-at-arms, you still have levies. All those things are in there, but it's cleaner and more concise, and it just makes more sense. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a lot of fun playing this game. And now I am going to do a whole new episode where I take this guy on and conquer and become the King of Ireland. One thing to note in the settings is here's where the achievements are. So if you want Iron Man and achievements enabled, this is where you can enable or disable them and see how many achievements you have. And then you load your games from there. So let's see, if I load that game, will it become an achievement game? I'm not sure. Okay. Achievements? Disabled? Oh, well, they're disabled because I had started the tutorial without them, so they're not going to be there, but that's okay. When you exit, you can choose desktop or main menu. But basically, you want your achievements to be enabled if that's what you're going for. And then when you start new games, it will show up that way. So for example, let's say we wanted to play as Petty King Murshad in like the real game. Right here, I can make sure that I have achievements enabled. You can also enable Iron Man and achievements here. Most of this stuff is like pretty good to start with normally. You actually can't make it harder, which it's hard enough as it is. This is one to watch for. Exclaves has to do with what happens if there's a piece of land outside of your normal realm borders. I would say limited is okay because basically that means you'll get to keep most stuff. Significant, all of a sudden people might become independent. Total, you're going to have problems where weird things will happen and you'll lose territories. So I like to go with significant personally. Everything else I think I like to leave default, but one other thing you might want to watch out for is the character nudity. You might want to have never display nudity, especially if you're making YouTube videos. Okay, so that's how you would be able to turn on Iron Man and achievements. You could play the tutorial that way, I think, maybe? I'm not sure. But let's say that we wanted to be Petty King Murshad and start there. It gives us a little rundown of who he is. Sometimes it'll even tell you what their traits are. Now, when I exit, it will automatically save. It shows you that the rules are in place. And when you go to load the game, you'll see the little fist for Iron Man. Double busy, getting busy, do.